Hi, I'm Alison Taafe, the Sassy Chef. Welcome. We are now going to do some spectacular stir frying that you can do in your tuck shops. Very easy, great way of getting some fresh ingredients and fresh veggies into your dish. Fabulous colours, great crunch, the kids are going to love it. First one is a Choi Bao. I'm going to use minced pork for this one today. You can use minced chicken, it's entirely up to you, but we'll go with pork the traditional way. I'm going to stir fry it, and I'm going to use a little bit of garlic and a tiny bit of chilli. It's up to you. You can either add the chilli or leave it out. It's entirely your dish. We're going to serve it in some nice crunchy lettuce leaves. The kids can roll it up and eat it and get a bit messy. They love that. My nephews love this one. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to use an electric wok because I kind of figure in your tuck shops that might be a piece of equipment that you're quite familiar with. Electric frying pan is great, but if you have a gas stove, you can just use an old-fashioned wok. It's entirely up to you. Just going to crush some garlic. I just wanted to show you how to do that. I've just peeled the garlic. Just going to use my chef's knife. I'm going to put the blade away from me and just smash it down. Just smash it down just like that. And then just roughly chop over the garlic. I want to make sure that the garlic is reasonably small. I don't want it to be great big chunks, but I also don't want it to be crushed too fine. And I would much prefer you to use fresh garlic, but it's your tuck shop, so you can use whatever you like. But the fresh garlic is much better for this one. All right, so a little bit of a diced chopped garlic just there. A little bit of chilli, as I said, your choice, with or without. It's beautiful either way. Just going to use a little cut there to just cut that chilli into like a little flour. I'm just going to run the knife over the top and get some beautiful chopped chilli, which would be great. Gives it a little bit of a hit. Not too much, just a little bit just there. Okie dokie. All right, now I'm going to use a canola spray so that I don't add too much fat into this dish. Plus, I have the benefit of a non-stick wok, which is great. Don't have to use too much fat in there. Okay, so I'm going to put my garlic and my chilli inside that wok, which is heated up. I'll make sure that I heat it up first a little bit. So, okay. So just when you can smell the garlic, that is exactly when I want you to add the pork. So don't burn the garlic. There's nothing worse. It becomes quite bitter when it's burnt. Some nice fresh minced pork is going in there. Now what was so bizarre was I bought the pork today at the supermarket, and inside was a little packet of Choi Bao seasoning. Coincidence? Maybe. I'm not using that. I'm going to use some fresh stuff. So I am going to just fry this pork. And notice I'm smashing it down. I want to break the pork mince up so it's not clumping into great big meatballs. I don't want that. Just want to make sure that I'm getting a little bit of a break up of that so it's nice and free flowing. Sometimes the chilli gets in the back of my throat as well. I can feel I want to cough, so you'll probably be like me as well over the wok. So a wok is a great way of cooking fresh food nice and quickly, which is what we're trying to do here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just make sure that's sealed nicely, and as it's pork, I'm going to put a bit of water in. I'm just going to let that cook down so I'm absolutely convinced that the pork is thoroughly cooked. There's nothing worse. Make sure it's cooked for about 5 to 10 minutes. So the garlic and chilli is nicely in there. I'm going to add a little bit of water into that pan, and that will help just steam the pork and keep it nice and moist, which is great. And it'll also make sure that once that water has disappeared, it's had enough time for that pork to cook through. So make sure that you break all that pork up so it's nice and free flowing. And like I say, with the water in there, you're going to make sure that pork is cooked thoroughly. Now don't worry about the quantities and the ingredients, guys, because you can go to the Smart Choices website and you can download all of these recipes and ingredients so you can do these at your leisure. What I will do now is I'm going to grate a little bit of carrot into this, and I'll do that straight over the wok. So add a little bit of crunchiness, add a little bit of freshness to this one. And I'm also going to add a little bit of shallot. And you could add other things in here too. Once you get this recipe down pat, it's entirely up to you what you put in here. But some nice fresh carrot going in there is great for the vitamins and nutrients. Beautiful. I'm going to put a little bit of shallot in here as well. So I've cut those up, but I just want to show you how I did that. Just going to take off the stalks and just cut off the ends as well. Give them a wash as well. Make sure that there's no dirt on those. Make sure they're nice and clean. And then just run the knife through them and cut some nice little slices. You can even go on the angle if you want to get really fancy. Cut some little slices from them just like that. You can go into the Choi Bao, and a bit of the green in there too. I like the green because it gives it lovely colour, and also this gives a nice flavour and also the texture as well, which is great. Okay, you can also add a little bit of salt and pepper here if you like. You can also use some low sodium, low salt soy in here. It's your tuck shop, you can do entirely what you like, but just go easy on the amount of salt. We like to try and lower the sodium in our food if we can. Okay, and the last thing I'd like you to do with this one is to add a squeeze of lime juice, which really freshens it up and gives it a lovely kick. So fresh lime juice in there, beautiful. And I also use a little bit of sugar just to sweeten it, just because the lime makes things a little sour. You can use white sugar or you can use palm sugar, but just go really easy on it. I don't want it to overload with sugar. Just a tiny little bit. And once again, you don't even have to put that in. It's entirely up to you. But if you use palm sugar, you just use a little bit of a grater and see how it's coming off in little shreds. Beautiful. It's a really good natural way of adding a bit of sweetness into that as well, rather than using the white processed stuff. So palm sugar, if you're interested. Okay, so that's done now. I've got that lovely freshness in at the end, which will just brighten everything up. And as you can see, traditionally, Choi Bao was served in a lettuce cup. I've got a couple of different types of lettuce here to show you. Got a little baby cos, and I've also got some fresh iceberg lettuce, which is really nice as well. So what I was going to do is just pop that on the plate and just show you how this looks when I put a little bit of this beautiful Choi Bao mixture inside. A little bit of the juice going in there as well. Beautiful. And the idea is to wrap it up inside the lettuce into a little parcel, just like so. And for the students to eat it like a sandwich without the bread, which is great. Now I'm going to show you the next dish, which is stir-fry noodles with plenty of veg. And I'm just going to wash out my wok and I'll be right back. Okay, now to the second of our stir-fries. I'm going to make a really nice hoi ken noodle dish with some chicken and lots of vegetables packed in there. I'm going to just get you to spray a little bit of oil into your wok, and then also I'm going to get you to put a little bit of chicken in, just one piece. We call it throwing a scout in to see if the oil's hot enough. Basically, I want to put a little bit in there, and I want to see if it sizzles first. And when that happens, you know it's fine to put the rest of the chicken in. That way the chicken won't stick, that way it seals straight away, and you get a great free-flowing chicken in your stir-fry. Now, you notice I've just cut that chicken thigh up into strips. I didn't want to do that today because I didn't want to mess up my board. So if you're going to do that in your tuck shops, girls and boys, make sure you cut the chicken on the board, you then wash the board thoroughly or even replace it with a new one, and also don't forget your knives and your hands. You don't want to contaminate anything that's cooked with raw chicken. It's really important. So right here we're going to seal this chicken up, and generally speaking, when it changes colour from being pale pink to white, it's pretty much cooked when you stir fry them. Happens quite quickly. And what we're going to do while that's stirring away nicely there, I'm going to show you how to crush garlic and how to also slice onion. I just did a little bit of garlic in the last one for you, but I wasn't actually crushing it, I just chopped it then. Just want to show you just a little bit of a different technique. Just going to run the knife a little bit over the garlic. What I'm then going to do is crush this garlic. I'm going to use my knife just to flatten the garlic and just squash it. That way you get loads of juice coming out the garlic, and you don't have to use as much. You get lots of flavour, you don't have to put as much garlic into your dish. So it's just a little squash. Now don't forget, don't worry about all these recipes. If you can't keep up with your note taking, you can go to the Smart Choices website and you can get hold of all the recipes and all the ingredients as well. So just put a little bit of that garlic into the chicken. Beautiful. Now with this onion, I'm going to do the opposite. When I was chopping the onion before, a little bit of a different technique. This one, I'm going to take the root out of the onion completely. Turn the onion around on its side, bearing in mind I am also watching my wok here. I don't want to burn any of this chicken. And a nice seal, like that. Beautiful, it's almost done by the way. So it takes about 5 minutes to cook that. Then I'm going to slice the onion the way nature intended. It's like drawing the dots. There's little lines across the onion. We're going to cut it that way. Some of my students want to cut it the other way, but we want this to be free-flowing and we want the onion slices to break up and to also mirror the strips of chicken, the bean sprouts, the noodles. Asian cuisine is very particular in the way food is presented, and also because it's such a quick, healthy method of cookery, we want to make sure that we don't cook things too long because we're waiting for things to cook. Oops, lost one of my onions there. Pop it back in. Okay, so you can increase the heat of your wok at any point, but make sure that you're in control of the wok. Don't let the wok control you. So make sure you turn it down if you think things are racing and a little bit too quick for you. Okay, so we're going to now have onions in there cooking away nicely. I'm also going to add some beautiful, colourful vegetables. I'm going to add some capsicum, which I'll show you how to cut into strips, and some celery, which I've also sliced. So I'll pop those in there, and I'll show you how I cut that up. A few strips of capsicum going in gives a beautiful colour. What I've done is taken off the side of the capsicum, so I've cut that 4 sides off, and all I want you to do is just flatten it a little bit, and then turn it over, and then slice on the inside of the capsicum, not the outside. It's much easier for you. Make sure you keep your fingers tucked in. I don't want any lost fingers on this course. Alright, so just a little bit like so. Perfect. That way it's easier on the knife. Okay, pop that in there and then just stir fry all that lovely veg. Let me grab a celery so I can show you how I did that one as well. Top and bottom. Sometimes we even use this bit as well, so we have a use for everything in the kitchen. It's good for the compost as well. All right, just cut that in half. Put it up on a flat surface. In other words, don't cut it rolling around. Cut it like this. Nice and fine with the slicing, and Bob's your uncle. Perfect. All right. I'm also going to add a little bit of bok choy to this one as well. So any sort of Asian greens are perfect. And if you can't find the Asian greens, a little bit of kale, a little bit of silver beet, a bit of cabbage, something with a bit of crunch and a bit of texture. Even silver beet's good. So we're just going to roll these up and we're going to just cut those into quite large pieces with the leaf. And as we get down to the stalk, we're going to cut it a little thinner because we don't want that to be too bitter in the mouth. Okay, so all the way down with that one. Or you can just rip the silver beet into there if you wish. Okay, a little handful of bean sprouts, beautiful crunch going in there. You can see all the goodness going in that pan now. The array of colours is amazing. Exactly what we want. I'm going to grate a little bit of ginger. I'm going to use my microplane. And once again, if you don't have one of those, don't panic, folks. Just use a grater. Just grate a little bit of fresh ginger. This is a nice young piece of ginger. I'm not even peeling it. Beautiful. All right, now I'm going to turn my wok down a little bit. It's racing away there. I don't want to burn anything in there. I do want to keep that lovely colour going. So I don't want to cook those last few things very long. Because what happens next is, this is good to eat on its own, by the way. I'm going to add some noodles to this so we get a whole rounded, full of nutrients in one dish with the noodles, the chicken and all the veggies. I'm using a Hoikan noodle. Now you can use dried noodles if you can't get hold of fresh. Make sure you boil them first in a bit of boiling water to soften them, drain them and rinse them. These are ready to go. These were fresh ones. I'm lucky enough to be able to get the fresh noodles down here in Brizzy. All right, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is add some sauces to this. I'm going to add some sweet chilli sauce. And go easy on it if you're not sure about chilli and your kids at school, whether they like it or not. So yeah, it's up to you. A little bit of low salt, low sodium soy, just a tad, not too much. And a little bit of hoisin. And just a small amount of all those sauces going in there. And for 4 portions, it's not that much sauce, so don't freak out when you think we're putting all that extra sauce in there. It is just to bind these things and to give a little bit of extra flavour at the end. So, I think I'm almost there with this dish. I'm almost certain that's going to be delicious because it smells good. My philosophy is if it looks good, smells good, you know it's going to taste good, right? You know that. Kids are going to love this one. It's finished. It takes you less than 5 minutes, so no excuse with this one. It's great. It's a really good way of getting really nice vegetables and greening up your tuck shop, girls and boys. This is great for everybody's lunch. Good for you as well. It's also a great way of greening up your tuck shop and also getting some smart choices into your school. I'm going to pop that into a lovely little noodle box. And you know what? We're done. That's our stir frying. And don't forget to go to the Smart Choices website where you can download all the recipes for the Choi Bao and the stir-fried noodles with chicken. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Alison Taafe, the Sassy Chef. I love my tuck shop. I hope you guys do too. Thanks. Bye.